Okay, so today we continue the topic of secret societies. Last class we discussed how they come into power. Today we will look at where they come from and what they believe. Okay? So to understand secret societies, I first need to explain to you the history of religion in the Western world. So in the Western world, there have been three major stages of religious development. And again, I will oversimplify for the purpose of clarity. Okay, so this is a simplified version of the history. So the three major stages of religious development in the Western world are the mother goddess, polytheism, and monotheism. Polytheism means many gods. You believe in many gods. Monotheism means one God, that only one God exists. So the mother goddess civilization came about because of agriculture. And in an agricultural world, you have two problems. The first problem is to make sure that your crops are healthy and you can harvest them in time. The second problem is to give birth, to have as many children as possible to work the fields. Okay, so these are the two problems. And because of that, a religion developed in order to facilitate both, called the mother goddess civilization. So at the center of this religion is the womb. The woman's womb is considered a divine portal from the spirit world into our world. It's almost like a cave, right? In which the spirit world can come out and manifest itself in our world. So the center of this religion is the womb of the woman. And as such, the women are in control. What's really important is to understand that in this world, everything is interconnected, harmonized, balanced together. So the womb is the center of this world, but then you have the stars. Okay, the stars. And of course, this gives rise to astrology. Astrology is the study of the movement of the stars in order to understand its impact on our world. Okay? Then you have, of course, the crops, right? So in an ideal world, all three are aligned together. By studying the stars, you know when to best plant the crops and when to best have children. And in this world, again, it is the women who are in control. They have the high status in society because they believe that women are direct representatives of the mother goddess who rules the world. Usually in this society, the mother goddess is represented as a bird, okay, a bird. Why? Because if you think about it, if you study all the animals in nature, it's a bird that has dominion over the sky. And if life comes from the sky, it makes sense that the mother goddess must be a bird of some sort. But the mother goddess is also paired with a bowl, okay? A bowl. Why? Because the bowl is a symbol of virility and energy. You cannot get pregnant as a woman by yourself. You need a man to do it for you. Okay? So the bird and the bowl are the two symbols of worship in this world. Now, this world is very strange from our perspective because there's no property. Everything belongs to everyone. There's no hierarchy. Everyone is the same. And there's no such thing as sex by yourself, okay? So sex is actually a community act. So that these rituals called fertility cults, in which they have sex together. In fact, many men will have sex with one woman. And it makes sense because as a woman, you want to have the best DNA. You want to have the best sperm, right? You don't know who's going to have the best sperm, so just have sex with everyone, and whoever has the best sperm will give it to you. Okay? So that's the mother goddess civilization. Then we switch to polytheism. So why did we make the switch? The answer is war. For the first time in human history, as populations increase, there's now struggle for resources. And what's the most important resource in this world? Do you guys know? The most important resource is women, right? Females. Because it's females that give birth. And so with war, we have a new concept called property. In order to get men to fight wars, you have to give them something as a reward, right? So they get to have a woman, a wife. And now this wife belongs to them and only them. So in this world, what happens is that you now have property, hierarchy, and marriage. And the role of the woman decreases and the role of the man increases. Okay? At the same time, what's happening is that these different societies, in order to fight wars, they have a god. Okay? And when they go to war, it's like the gods are going to war. And if you lose the war, what it means is that your god is inferior to their god. So now you have a hierarchy of gods. So to maintain peace, what happens is that if you lose the war, you admit that your god is weaker than their god, and you now must obey their god. Right? And this is what we call the pantheon. So remember, in the Greek pantheon, Zeus is at the top, and you have Apollo, Ares, Aphrodite, okay? Everyone else is a lower god. But before, they were separate gods. And in a series of wars, the people who believe Zeus is the best god won out against the other gods. And as a result, the other gods became Zeus's children. Yes? Do you have a question?
Why does the men are fight for women, but women don't fight for men? Like the women don't fight for the men. So why?
Okay, so the question is, why do men go to war and why don't women go to war? Okay, so that's a really good question, okay? So let me explain to you very slowly. So in this world, the women are in control, right? So women have all the status. But over time, as populations increase, you have young men who have no families. And these young men are discarded from the societies because of lack of resources. So these young men now have a problem. They need to find wives in order to survive. So these young men start to raid other societies in order to capture women. Okay, do you understand? So in this society, it's never young women who are discarded because they have value to their society. It's always young men who are discarded. And as a result, these young men become like wolves, okay? They become like a wolf pack who then go and pillage other villages. And that's how you start, and that's how you have the origin of war. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, so now you have this pantheon of gods, okay, which leads to polytheism. Then we make the switch from polytheism to monotheism. Why? Because now you have a new idea called empire. Specifically, the Roman Empire, and they introduced a new religion called Christianity, which is the first monotheistic religion in the world. There's a lot of debate as to what was the first monotheistic religion. Some people say Zoroastrianism, some people say Judaism. I will show you in this class later on that actually the first religion that was monotheistic is Christianity, okay? So the difference between this society, which is a society based on war, is there's a lot of humans, but humans are still the most precious resource. Therefore, it is not in your best interest to kill everyone. But when you have an empire, like the Roman Empire, you don't have to worry about killing other people. In fact, you can go and destroy entire societies, which is what the Romans did. And you can now, as an empire, impose your reality, your God, on everyone else. And that's how you have monotheism. Does that make sense?